There it is. Hello and welcome to April 2nd, Train Your Brain Book Club. If you're here live, awesome. If you're watching the recording, awesome. We're going to meet for 5 weeks, and this is our first week of Train Your Brain. We have done this group so many different times over the years, different ways. We've done book clubs where we read the whole thing word for word live. We've done book clubs where we only read on our own and come together to just do the um, mindware experiments, and that's kind of what we're doing this round. We have assigned, suggested reading every week. And this book, if you guys have seen this yet, there's the reading part of the book, which is 39 chapters, and then part two is mindware experiments. And some people read everything first and then do all the mindware experiments. We're gonna do both. We're gonna read on our own and then come together on these calls to do mindware experiments. And we'll meet 5 times. So this first chunk, we read 12 chapters, which is the most reading that we'll do in the whole book club. So if you haven't done the first 12 chapters and you need to play catch up this week, you'll definitely have time. But we're also going to do a little summary together tonight. And then we'll do the mindware experiments together. There are no mindware experiments in the first 12 chapters, which is why I was like, let's knock those out. And then next week we'll get to do those mindware experiments together, which I think will be really fun. So before we get started on the book, I just want to go through and introduce ourselves because we'll be spending the next 5 weeks together. Some of you already know each other from other book clubs or LeBrai, so we're just going to say our name, where we're from, and if we've read this book before or why we want to read this book. And then you can pick anybody else that you see on the screen. So it'll kind of be like popcorn introductions. So I'll go first. My name's Melissa. I am in Buda, Texas, which is just south of Austin. And I have read this book at least 7 times. But I love to do it with groups because it's way more powerful when you do the work together and put it into action versus just thinking about it. So yeah, that's me. I choose Debbie.
Hello, everybody. I am Deb Revering. I'm from Ramsey, Minnesota, and this will be my sixth time reading the book. And the reason that I'm reading the book again is because I always follow Melissa, and whatever she's doing, I know has got to be something spectacular. But the last time I read this book, I promoted to senior executive in LeBrai, and every time that I've read this book, it's always fitting for whatever chapter I am in my life. So I'm so excited for this. Um,
Thank
I
you.
pick Tara Crawford.
Thank you.
Hello, I am Tara Crawford. I'm in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, and I think I've read this book at least 4 times. This maybe 5, I don't know. I have like 4 different colors of highlighter in it though. And every time I've read it, I've definitely seen growth and I'm feeling kind of stagnant. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to join Melissa and you guys and get some growth going here in my business.
Thank you.
And I pick Rosemary O'Malley.
Hi, I'm Rosemary O'Malley. I'm in Northern California in a small town called Pollock Pines. I'm blessed to live in the mountains, and we had snow yesterday. So I've read the book. This will be my third time. It excites me every time, and then somehow I just get off the path. So I'm looking to get move forward in the path instead of run in place. And I pick Liz.
Thank you. 4 different states so far.
Hi, y'all. I'm in Texas. I'm in Kyle, so very close to Melissa. And this book, I bought it because I saw Melissa. She was doing the book club, but I wasn't ready to join. And now I'm ready. I love everything that has to do with the mind, and I've been meditating probably more than 10 years now, just different kinds of meditations, but I always think that our mind is very powerful, and when I read this book, I was blown away, but I really don't know how to like implement. So I'd like some ideas. So that's why I'm here, and I will pick Allison.
Thank you. She's looking for the unmute button. Let me see if I can help.
Okay, sorry, I'm on
Here
my
it
phone.
goes.
I've never done
Yeah,
this on my phone. Anyway,
that's
hi, I'm
okay.
Allison, and I'm in Buda, Texas, and I'm a former teacher, so I'm always interested in just any kind of study with the mind. So that's why I picked that book. So
Awesome.
I'm excited, and I will pick Chelsea. Right? She hasn't gone yet.
Yep. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
sure. I don't know if I can mute again.
Yeah, I can help.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Colley. I live in Kyle, close to Liz. I've done one of these before, but I didn't finish the book and I didn't, get it all, soak it all in. So definitely want to, try to master some of these strategies.
Yay. Thank you.
Thank
I,
you.
I think the only one that hasn't gone yet is Jessica. Jessica, are you able to unmute? I know sometimes you're busy doing you're multitasking. Oh, you're here. Hi.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah, I can unmute. Okay, I'm Jessica. I live in Buda, Texas, like across the highway from Melissa. Um, I actually did this book the last time Melissa did Train Your Brain. I did not finish it due to life, and I'm excited to start it again and do it now. And we just did one, the abundance one, and I had some great breakthroughs. So exciting to do this one back to back.
Yay. Yeah, if anybody's ever read Creating Money, I love Train Your Brain, Creating Money. They're all great mind hack kind of books.
And I actually don't think Tara went. Did Tara go?
Yeah, she did.
She did. Okay, just
Yep,
checking.
she was towards the beginning. Yeah, did everybody get a chance to go? Double checking. Yeah, I think. Okay, good. And if anybody hops in later, we can let them introduce themselves too. Or if you're watching the replay and you want to introduce yourself in the chat later, you can too. If you haven't gotten a chance to do that yet. So I'm gonna pull my book out, and I have a little list here of kind of pit stops I want to make along the way. So we're going to discuss it in order, starting with chapter one. And chapter one, no matter how many times I read this book, I love that it kicks it off with like real stories and actual documentaries. And this dissociative identity disorder is so fascinating to me too. And I love that she's like, they didn't explain if her eyesight actually changed or if the scar actually went away or if it was just their perception of it, but it did get her thinking and kind of kick off her whole like what is actually happening here in the brain. So then in chapter two, they talk about the road to success begins and ends in your mind. And I love how she compared how-to trainings like step one, step two, step three, like this is what you do and how you do it kind of trainings versus she called them Snicker bar effect trainings, which is where they're like super hyped up, super motivational. They don't really tell you how to do anything, but they get you all excited and then you crash later, like that sugar crash from the Snickers bar. And she explains, Dana Wilde explains how Train Your Brain is taking both of those, the how to and focusing on how you feel, and putting them together. Was there anything in those chapters that you guys that you have questions about or that you want to chat about more than me just summarizing what the first two chapters said? Feel good
Oh,
about, oh, go
yeah, I
ahead.
was just gonna say, I really like the way she describes the unconscious mind, like getting rid of the word sub and making it
Oh,
the
yeah.
unconscious. So I really like the way she described that.
Yeah, me too. I think my favorite part about Dana Wilde's her training, because she has all kinds of resources, y'all. She not only does she have this book, she has podcasts, she has a Facebook group, she has email lists, and I love how just it's almost like if y'all ever read those books, such and such for dummies, like it just dumbs it down to like anybody can do this no matter how much training you have or how much knowledge you have. And I love the little switches that she does like that too. All right, so chapter 3 is where it starts to really get inspirational. And she starts talking about her journey in the Million Dollar Club. And this, I first read this book in 2019. I'd never heard of this book before, and I was attending it was like a Zoom Labri training, and my upline, Gina LaGalbo, she makes $60,000 a month. She's a millionaire. You guys, like the amount of lives that Gina LaGalbo has touched is incredible. But anyway, she had a guest speaker on the call named Jody Keller. And Jody Keller, this is the book that changed her life. And so Jody Keller was doing a training on Train Your Brain, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to read that book. And when I read this chapter of the Million Dollar Club, I was like, oh, I didn't know it, but now that I'm reading it, I think I want that. Like, I think I want to be in the Million Dollar Club. And after I read this book, my team did reach $1 million in sales. So just wow, it's just really impactful. So in this chapter, she talks about how she really wanted to be in that club, but she didn't really know how to get there. And on page 13, I'm going to read to you guys these pages here. So if you have your book, you can look at it with us, or if you just want to listen to me read, that's fine too. Page 13, it says, "You may have heard the idea you need to think like a successful person in order to be a successful person, or you need to think like a rich person in order to become a rich person. Well, because of my direct sales team members initially and later, the followers of the Mind Aware, that's her training group, I've discovered that you can train people to think in this manner. Train Your Brain is built on the basic premise of intentional action. Get your mindset right first and then take action. That's the magic. Action alone has very little to do with success. The actions of our team during our record rise to the top were always preceded by thoughts and feelings generated by our own minds. I will go into great detail on the importance of thought and feeling in carrying out action in later chapters. This is why I believe Train Your Brain is so effective. It is not relying on action alone. It's not singing the same old song about working harder and working longer. Conversely, it's also not telling you to sit in bed all day and think happy thoughts. Train Your Brain, and this part's like bolded, Train Your Brain is the total package. It will show you that the mind is the single most important tool at your disposal, capable of bringing you whatever you want. Train Your Brain shows you that your intentions, your thoughts and your feelings, and your actions, what you do, are not mutually exclusive. In other words, your thoughts and feelings must be combined with your actions in order for your actions to have the best chance for success. Remember, intentional action, combining thoughts and feelings with action, is the bread and butter of Train Your Brain, providing you with a stronger, quicker method for success and resulting in the kind of success that lasts much longer for you. Over the next few chapters, I want to keep explaining this material in the same way I learned it, continually laying the groundwork for how the mind works and how our brains can and will create their own success stories. And also how you can easily rebuild and reshape your business and your life any way you want and know that it is not magic. And so, to explain this information as I've learned it over the last 30 years, with each point building on the next, let's recap the concepts I've shared so far. Concept number 1, your brain is your largest and most valuable asset. Relying on yourself and using your own mind as the primary force for your success will create something much stronger and longer lasting. Number 2, motivational training can make you feel good, but typically those good feelings wear off. Also, the elusive nature of these trainings often make them more difficult to apply to your day-to-day business. Step 3, action or hard work alone will never guarantee your success. Many of us in network marketing and direct sales are working tirelessly and, in fact, likely working too much. While consistent action is important to your success, it is not the reason for your success. Number 3 took me a really long time to actually believe. Number 4, finally, in reading this book, you will not merely be learning Train Your Brain methods, you will be implementing them. As you begin applying these techniques and the various mindware experiments to your business, you will experience how quickly and dramatically it affects everything that you do. Don't take my word that Train Your Brain works. Practice the experiments, apply the fun, exciting techniques in this book, and your own results will be the proof of Train Your Brain's amazing effectiveness. I promise you will experience your own success stories. You will experience a noticeable shift in your business, and Train Your Brain will increase your business and transform your life. And I just think like these 3 pages are huge. Good night, honey. I love you. Sweet dreams. She walked in with hearts. Okay, so for those of you that have read this book before, are there any of these concepts that you're like, okay, that one I need to focus on? Or if you're new to this book, if you're like, oh, I want to start with that one feels like a good concept to focus on.
I've noticed for me, like number 3, like you were talking about, I work tirelessly, we'll just say for LeBri, and always being consistent, but putting my energy into the wrong, like it's not wrong. I don't want to say wrong. Putting my efforts into helping others versus working on myself. Like it's
Oh,
super
yeah.
easy. Yeah, it's super easy to just say, oh, yep, I'm here to help you. But then I don't take time for myself to work on my own, train your brain and do my
Right.
own things. So I spend a lot of time, working hard in my direct sales business, but yet I'm helping others. So I'm doing their work for them, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important to make sure that you're focusing on you, your feelings, your thoughts, your actions, because we can't. There's a really good training where they talk about backyards being like your boundaries. Like we stay in our backyard, everybody else stays in their backyard, and we all benefit from that. Thank you for sharing, Debbie. Anybody else? Are there any of these concepts that are sticking out to you that you want to chat about?
I would agree with Debbie and number 3. And I think I did it so much that I kind of got burnt out and I just kind of stepped back and have been on autopilot. Granted, there's been some personal stuff and family stuff, but yeah. So definitely working on number 3 and not feeling guilty when I do have to take time for myself and
Yeah.
focus on me.
Yep, totally. Yeah, number 1, it says the brain is your largest and most valuable asset. Relying on yourself and using your own mind as the primary force for success will create something. Love, love, love that. All right, so let's, chapter 4 is the power of the mind. And this chapter, and I feel like the next one, there's just more stories in here. They talk about reversing blindness. They talk about the mind-body connection. I'm forgetting the name of, he's super famous. Doctor, oh my gosh, he's not in the book. It was somebody, he teaches visualization and meditation. Oh, somebody, I'm gonna think of it later randomly. Does anybody know who I'm talking about?
Joe Dispenza? No.
Yes. Dr. Joe Dispenza, he talks about this mind-body connection too. And like, if you think it and you feel it and you take action towards believing it, this chapter kind of backs this up too. So, also, it kind of mentions this, but I want to drive this home. by the time that we're 7 years old, we have all of our beliefs about the world ready to go. Like everything that happens in the first 7 years of life. So, family, environment, school, what's happening in the world. Like, think about what life events happened between ages 0 and 7 for you. The media that you're exposed to, the relationships that come and go, all of that in the first 7 years of life is going to play into what you believe. And so having the courage to look at it neutrally and just be like, this is something, a belief that I need to work on, that will really help you with this book too. And it's less about like reliving experiences or trying to, fix it or change it. It's really just looking at it, saying, this is what it was, this is probably where that belief came from, and what do I want the new belief to be? So that they kind of talk about that in the chapter 4, and then they go into the conscious mind and the unconscious mind in chapters 5 and 6. So the conscious mind, this is what's you're actively aware of. So there's kind of a ramble here on page 19. I should take out the garbage. It's heavy. What did I put in there? The grass is getting long. Oh man. And then they keep going like, it was so stupid to buy this big TV. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Oh, look, it's the furniture outlet flyer. Wow, 50% off sale. Like, these are just the things that we're actively thinking and doing. Was there anything in this chapter that you guys wanted to chat about the conscious mind, as far as like, did you have questions about it or a good example of where the conscious mind might be playing a big part in your story?
I'm thinking about something. It just came to me right now, but I don't know where I got this from, but this phrase of like, what was my mind just thinking? So making it not you, but apart from you. I don't know if
Yeah.
being aware of like what's going on. Like, why was that in my head? What was my mind just thinking?
Yep. That's a good way to kind of look at it as separate. I like in this chapter, she talks about the female cartoon character who always carries a rolling pin and is always ready to whack someone. Sometimes it feels like the commentator in our head is really critical and waiting to criticize, or in this instance, be the rolling pin, like the cartoon. And so the conscious mind is also the part of the brain helping us make decisions, focus our attention, and complete tasks. So if our conscious mind, I hate to always compare, like throw my mom into this because she's not in the group, but my mom's conscious mind is kind of like this first page where it's one thing, she's always thinking about 10 different things at a time, and it's really hard for her to focus. And so if we can realize what's going on in our conscious mind, what is our mind thinking, and kind of sort it or kind of take lead on it, then we can start to shift things in different ways. And it says here that even though it may be true, it's only really telling half of the story. It's easy for us to get attached to our conscious mind and mistakenly think this is who we are. But as you'll learn in this book, your thoughts are merely tools for building a truer picture of yourself and a picture of who you want to be. Now it's going to talk about the unconscious mind. So the unconscious mind is what we talked about earlier. It's all the programming that goes in. And it's actually estimated that 95% of what we say and do and think and feel is unconscious. Like, we're not even actively thinking about it. This is probably the biggest aha moment for me when I first read this book, and whenever I reread it, I'm like, oh yeah, don't forget about that part. So, what stood out to you guys in this chapter, chapter 6, the unconscious mind?
For me, it's the fact that we built these beliefs, like you said, like right to the age of 7.
Mm-hmm.
And so it, how do I want to put this? It's like it kept saying it's your best friend, right? But it's going to believe whatever you tell yourself. So whatever your conscious mind's thinking. So like if you say stupid, 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 your unconscious is literally going to go, okay, stupid. Boom.
Right.
Whatever you say is right. And so for me, this is my eye-opening chapter. This is what I'm going to be focusing on is how to rethink some of that unconsciousness that has been in there just from life and not realizing that that's what had happened.
Yep. This is the hack. Like the way we train our brain is hacking into this unconscious programming. So yeah, that's it. That's right on point. At the very end of the chapter, at the very last paragraph on page 25, it says the unconscious mind's ability to regulate so much of our day-to-day existence is truly incredible. As you'll learn in future chapters, when we learn how to change the beliefs stored in our unconscious mind, change in our lives truly becomes effortless.
I
And
have a
then,
question.
oh yeah, go
Sorry.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, you go from the conscious mind of, like for me, if it's a really difficult task and something that I haven't done before, I will put that off. I'm the biggest procrastinator. But then I can read this book and then I start, telling myself and manifesting things and saying, okay, yep, I can do this, I can do this. And then all of a sudden, next thing I know, it's like a week or two later, it's like, oh, I'm back to the same crap, I guess. Like, oh, how did I get back here? So it's like, how long does it take for you to continue to repeat yourself, have post-it notes around your house for you to like just sit here and say, I am good, I'm okay, I'm gonna be all right, kind of thing, to where it's like it all of a sudden shifts right back to
Yeah.
that conscious of stupid, stupid, stupid.
Right,
you
right,
know?
right. I'm so glad you brought that up because, and this, believe it or not, this comes up in every single Train Your Brain book club. Like, how many repetitions does it take? How many days does it take? Like, people want to know the exact, like, how or like, when will I know if I've gotten to reprogram whatever it is you want to reprogram? And it's different for everybody. And it's really based on how you feel. And we'll learn about this later in the book, but emotions are always changing. Emotions are energy in motion. So as you feel differently, you will think differently. And so if you're like, "Oh, I got this. This is going great. I believe in this," you're probably feeling joyful and knowledgeable and that feeling of like knowing and joy. And if you're like, oh, stupid, 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 I don't have this, like I can't do this, you're probably feeling frustrated or overwhelmed or one of those left side of and there's an emotion scale later in the book, but I will say it's not about how many times it takes, like the post-it notes. It's really about how you feel. So the more often that you can tap into shifting your feelings, the more success you'll have. Does that help, Debbie?
Yes, and I was
Yeah.
going to also ask Liz too. So part of that whole shift, and all of a sudden you get into those emotions because someone rejected you or you did something wrong, and now all of
Yeah.
a sudden, you're having those feelings. Meditation would probably come in really well, where you
Yeah.
take a moment to sit with yourself and go, okay, this isn't that big of a deal.
Mhm.
You're okay, kind of thing. So that's, yeah, cool.
Yeah, visualization, meditation, all of that is really great for shifting how you feel. And we're gonna probably focus on how we feel more than anything else because that's the best way. Because when you feel a certain way, it's gonna remind you of a way you felt before. And if it's a less positive one or one that you don't want to be feeling, your body's going to remember how it felt before and why it felt that way. And so that's why you might feel like you're sliding backwards. When you're not sliding backwards, you're just remembering kind of unconsciously. So,
I want to say something real quick.
yeah, go ahead.
With the meditation, Debbie, what I feel is like I can pause and kind of step back from situations and see it like objectively without, well, yeah, you want to get your feelings in there, but without really feeling anything before you jump into conclusions of if it's good or bad or anything. Just seeing it for what it is, the facts or whatever. And then
Okay.
you get all the emotions in there that you choose. It's like a choice that you make. That's what I feel like has helped with the meditation.
When you
And I just
meditate.
say something about this chapter, the 95% that's already in us. We're emulating, like we're copying our mom and dad. And that's what,
Totally.
so when you look at yourself and you go, oh, I'm my mom or I'm acting like my dad, that's your 7-year-old like process that you went through. You were just copying everybody around you. So
Mhm.
now it's time to kind of you decide what you're gonna think and how you're gonna, they say even your voice, what the way you talk is how you learned, and it's a habitual thing that you've just, that's the way you learn until 7, and that's how you've been all your life. So
Yeah.
that really stands out to me, like I'm just a copy of my mom and dad.
And I love that this book has a weight on it because it really does take strength and courage and effort and all of those beautiful things to do
Thank you.
something different, you know? So, yeah,
Thank
I
you,
love
Liz. That's great.
I love that. Getting to a neutral place was a really good suggestion. So in chapter, what number is this? 7 with the beliefs. This is where it talks about, so we learned about the conscious mind. This is your thinking, focus mind, and then the unconscious, which this controls your breathing. It's kind of like everything you're doing without thinking much. Um, Now, where did those beliefs come from? It tells this really awesome example about a little boy and his art, um, and how he basically gave permission to believe certain things about himself. And we do this too, where we're like, oh, yeah, I agree with that. I believe that now. Well, on page 29, it says, if you can agree with a thought, you can also disagree with a thought. So when the thought, the little cartoon lady with the rolling pin comes up, you could be like, nope, disagree. Or when that little voice that's like, you can't do it, you're not smart enough, you blah 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 blah. I disagree. And that's the turning point. So when we go, wait, hold on, I don't agree with that, that's the real turning point. Simply put, beliefs are both powerful and changeable. So recognizing what the belief is step one, and then deciding I disagree with that now. I want to change that. That's where the real power is. So chapter 8 is called Our Best Friend, the Unconscious Mind. And I think this is what Jess brought up earlier. This is your best friend because it supports every single thought that you have. It loves you dearly and it never passes judgment on you. However, it's a best friend with no sense of humor. It takes every thought that you have literally. Think Mr. Spock from Star Trek here. I always think of like autism or like anybody on the spectrum, they just take it at face value. That's the unconscious mind. So for example, if your thought is I'm no good at art, your unconscious mind will say, yes, you're right, you're no good at art. So if you think to yourself, I want a lot of clients for my business, your unconscious mind says, yes, you should have a lot of clients. And this applies to everything, you guys, not just business. This could be, I'm a good listener, I'm a patient mom, I'm a caring friend or wife or daughter, and your unconscious mind is going to go, yep, you are, that's right, because that's what you're feeding it, and it's always going to agree with you. Um, So if you follow the thought up with, well, that would be a lot of hard work, your unconscious mind's going to go, yep, too hard. Yep, that's a lot of hard work. So we have to really focus on what we're thinking. And first we have to be aware of it. So we have to go, oh, wait, I just thought something. And this actually happened this weekend. I had like a little mini meltdown this weekend, and my husband goes, I think some of that's how you're framing it. And I was like, just let me vent. But it's really not productive to do that. What is productive is speaking and thinking what will get us to where we want to go. So it says, if you follow that thought with another thought to reinforce it, then that's where we want to go. But if you're following up with, you're like, I want to do better in my business, but I don't have enough time. I want to do better in my business, but a lot of life is happening. I want to do a lot in my business, but I don't, you know what I mean? Like if we keep following up with the but, that's what's going to hold us back. So we have to pay attention to every single thought that we're having. It says the bad news is every thought has the potential to become a belief. The good news is every thought has the potential to become a belief. So really clear cut here, what we think is really important. In chapter 9, we are going to do a let me find the page here. Yeah. So chapter 9 is called, Is It Real or Imagined? The unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. And this is why visualization works so beautifully, and meditation works so beautifully. I'm going to read to you guys. This is a visualization. So go ahead and close your eyes. Close your eyes and imagine that you are standing in your kitchen. Imagine yourself as though you are in your body. In other words, use your mind's eye. Even though your eyes are closed, imagine the room as though you are looking through your own eyes. Visualize. Now, with your eyes closed, use your mind's eye. Imagine everything around you as you stand in the middle of your kitchen. Maybe you notice the temperature in the room. Maybe you notice the noise, the hum of the refrigerator. Take in all the different sounds, smells, and sights in your kitchen. Now visualize walking up to your refrigerator and opening the door. Feel the blast of cold air escaping from the refrigerator and notice there is a small lemon sitting on the center of the top shelf. Imagine reaching out and picking up the lemon and noticing how cold and firm it is when you touch it. You can feel the small pockmarks on the rind. It is heavy and firm with juice. With your eyes still closed, imagine yourself holding the lemon in your hand, shutting the refrigerator door, and walking over to your kitchen counter. Place the lemon on a cutting board in front of you. See yourself picking up a knife, sitting next to the cutting board, and slicing through the center of the lemon, cutting it in half. The knife is very sharp and it slices through the lemon easily. Notice the juice oozing out of the lemon and onto the cutting board. Now visualize picking up half of the lemon and placing the juicy side into your mouth and biting down. You salivate from the taste. Okay, open your eyes. Raise your hand if you salivated when you bit into the lemon in your mind. Okay, cool. It's why the reason that a person salivates just from a description or visualization of biting into a lemon is because the mind isn't distinguishing between what's real and what's imagined. The mind actually believing it's biting into a real lemon functions as it normally would, causing you to salivate. So this is the power of the mind's eye. Now, I will say, if you've never tasted a lemon before, you might not salivate. So when thinking about this book, if you're reaching for really high goals that you've never experienced before, we're going to have to get creative on imagining and relating it to something that we have already experienced. So just keep that in mind, as if you ever get stuck, be like, oh, well, maybe I haven't tasted a lemon before, but I've tasted an orange, or I've tasted, something similar to what it is that you're reaching for. So, we're going to use visualizations when we reminisce about times gone, or anytime that we recall a memory from the past. Anytime that you're remembering or you're thinking about something that already happened, you're visualizing, but you can also think about things that haven't happened yet either. Also, okay, any questions about this chapter of real or imagined? Because it's a big one. It's a powerful one.
I just have some things to say.
Yeah.
Those things, the virtual reality things that they're coming up with,
Yeah.
that I'm scared of, because people will, since you can't tell the difference between what's real and what's not, just living in that thing is like, ooh.
Are you talking about like the meta
Yeah.
goggles and stuff? Yeah. And see, as a video gamer, I think it's really cool, but I probably also wouldn't walk around outside. Like, I do think it's interesting when I see the videos of people like riding the bus or walking downtown. I'm like, what's happening? Yeah, I think the skill to visualize is really powerful, just with your own mind and your own thoughts and your own feelings, for sure. Um, okay, let me check the time. Okay, perfect. We're right on time here. So, 3 more chapters to chat about. This next one is called the Reticular Activating System, which to me, I'm like, well, what the heck is that? What is a reticular activating system? This is, let me see if I can find what I wanted to read here. So, is this the one? I should have written it down. Okay, so the reticular activating system, the easiest way to explain this is it's kind of like a fact checker or a filter of like what's real and what's not. What am I going to believe? What am I not going to believe? It's kind of like the processing part of it. So the outside world will always match the inside world. So what you think about, you're going to see. And I can't remember if it was in this chapter or not, but Dana Wilde does this very frequently where she says, think about one thing. It could be a color, it could be a shape, it could be, those are really the two most simple examples. So you can blue or green or round, and you focus on green, 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 everything that's green. And then as you go about your day, oh my gosh, green grass, green building, green shirt, green shoes, green car, like you start seeing green everywhere. So the more that you think about what you want to think about, the more it will show up in your outside world. And they relate it to the boy and his art story. But this is really important to know because these are like hacks to the system. So yes, we have deep-rooted beliefs and we can hack them if we understand this reticular activating system. Any questions about the reticular? I'm just going to call it RAS, the RAS system.
I think Mel Robbins talks a lot about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she does.
Anything bad, she's like, you see, like it's confirming my thoughts that this was going to happen. The same
Right.
with things.
Yep. And this will happen if you're like, oh, this bad thing happened and oh, this bad thing happened. That's what I was doing this weekend. I was like listing all the things that were that were not what I wanted. And then I was like, wait a second, that's just my filter and I need to switch my filter. And so yeah. Go ahead,
Do
Deb.
you look at it, do you look at it as it's a coincidence?
Oh,
I was literally thinking about, well, I was talking out loud, and I know my phone listens to me, but we're talking about baby strollers for my grandkids. And
yeah.
it's like all of a sudden all this stuff comes up. It's like,
Well, and
or
our
something.
yes, and our brain is always going to try to justify it. Like it's always going to try to be like it's a coincidence or it was luck or it was, oh, that's interesting. But it's actually like there's scientific knowledge that if you're thinking about it and talking about it, you'll start seeing it everywhere also.
So it's basically just shifting it from the it's a coincidence to
I
I
made
did
that
that.
happen.
I
Yeah,
did that.
I did
Okay.
that. Yes,
Okay.
exactly. Yep.
Awesome.
And creating money talks about that too, of like, because it talks about doing visualizations and like turning your magnet on and drawing to you by thinking about it and feeling things on the same uh the feeling that you will have when you have it and all of those things. And it's like, oh, you actually drew that to you. Same thing, like you turned your filter on and now that's what's coming through in your experience.
And you're like more open to it, like you
Right.
recognize it, you're thinking about it. So if you're not thinking about it, even if it's in your face, you can't recognize because it's not there in your mind. So
Right.
Okay. That's why I'm seeing baby strollers
Right.
everywhere.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
That's
Got it.
exactly it. So chapter 11 is about the reticular activating system, that filter in action. Um, and I just kind of want to summarize it for you. Well, this part's good to read. So on page 43, um, this person, she's reaching for success and she's had a few minor setbacks, a few bumps in the road. A few customers told her like they couldn't afford the products, blah, blah, blah. And then quickly, the little voice in her head started saying, these people have no money to spend. Nobody in this town can afford my products and services. And it was quiet at first, um, but then it started being that gnawing voice and it just kept getting louder and more annoying. Um, and the way that they worked on it is they had to look at that belief and change it, rewrite it so that the reticular activating system could start doing the work for her. So let me see if it says here what her new. So the old belief was people cannot afford my products and services. And the new belief, let me see if they changed it here. So when she had that belief of most people can't afford my product, that she started coming into contact with people that couldn't afford her product. Let me jump ahead here. So it says before, the good news is that the Mindware experiments you'll be taking part in will help you remove your blind spots, like I think her name was Joyce in this experiment or this chapter. The reticular activating system, the filter in your brain, can go to work for you by allowing new information into your awareness. This is exactly how it worked for Joyce, and it can work for you too. I feel like I skipped over what Joyce's new. I don't think it ever said. No, I don't think it did. So it says, in other words, if you believe certain things about yourself, then that's what's going to show up in your reality. It says you walk into a room full of people you don't know and you don't have a conscious thought about how this makes you feel. Oh, it's talking about being shy. I wish it would tell us what Joyce's new thing is, but I don't think it tells us just yet. The unconscious mind, your tried and true friend, will make sure you act like yourself automatically. So if you believe yourself to be outgoing or a good listener or funny or serious, good with kids, Whatever you believe, then that's what's going to show up for you. Um, and it will happen without thinking. You will always act like yourself without thinking about it too. The conscious mind, your thinking mind, will set goals and perform many tasks for you. But remember that it's the unconscious mind that is sorting through all those bits of information coming in, the filter, and it's bringing into your awareness only those little things matching the inside picture of the world. This means that 95% of the time, the unconscious mind is running the show. So all this time we thought our goals and our actions and all of that is running the show, but really what's running the show and what our job is to become aware of it and work through that filter is the unconscious mind, is what's really happening the whole time. So does everybody understand the filter right now? The reticular activating system? She'll talk about it some more too.
Can I add one thing? So it does say that the reticular activating system filters everything and allows new information for those blind spots, and that's how it worked for Joyce. So
Thank you.
basically it said that she got rid of her blind spot.
Gotcha. Perfect. Thank you so much. I was searching the page for it and I'm like, it's not here.
I know we only have a few minutes left, but
Yeah.
so I feel like we have a really good example. So Melissa, the other day it was our last day of the month. We have to make numbers. I have goals. This, whatever. Melissa reaches out to me and I'm giving her everything that I've already reached out to these people. Yep, I've asked them. I've talked to them. They've had every excuse under the book. And I'm like, now all of a sudden I've got that negative in my own mind that nope, 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 whatever. And Melissa started just putting out certain words out there, which then all of a sudden made me excited. It's kind of like that motivational speaker that, oh, yeah, maybe. And so we went from $3,000 in one day to making our numbers. We did $3,000 on the 31st. And
You
it
did
was
it in
just
like
by
12 hours, Deb. It was
12 hours. And it was just a matter of like, I was done at, like you get to that point where you're like done asking and you're like, I was manifesting or having that in my brain that these people already gave me their excuses. And then when all of a sudden I asked them the same kind of question that Melissa did, which was not a but in there, it was a here it is. What do you think? It was boom, everybody started ordering. And it's like, oh my God, what's happening?
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's why oh, go ahead,
Go ahead.
Deb.
I was just going to say, it's like, where I go back to, okay, I start doing everything for 2 weeks and everything's great. And all of a sudden I just get that one negative person or something that brings me down. And going back into the emotional part of it, it's like, I feel like lately I've just been so emotional with things and people and trying to be like respectful and go, okay, it's fine. Cause I'm not pushy. I'm not salesy because I love this product that that I share. And so when I'm trying to explain it, here comes Melissa, poop, 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 in my ear. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we can do this. Yeah. So I just kind of thought that was fitting.
Yeah, shifting how you feel is huge. And because this is the foundation, right? We're understanding the unconscious mind, the conscious mind, the reticular activating system is part of the unconscious mind. It's the filter. Now we need to understand how the conscious mind feeds into it. Thought precedes emotion. So whether they're conscious or unconscious thoughts, chapter 12 talks about what we think creates how we feel. Like we do not feel a certain way without correlating thoughts. It took work for me to be like, what thought was I thinking before that led to me feeling this way? It says on page 49 that thoughts generate all your emotions. In other words, your feelings in any situation are always preceded by your thoughts, and it's these thoughts that cause you to experience a particular emotion. For example, if I'm just going to think of something really not monumental. Okay, so I'm feeling mad. What happened right before that? My package was not in the mailbox. My thought is the package is lost. Now I'm not going to be able to get whatever was in that package to the person that needed it. I don't know. I'm frustrated because I don't know where to find my package. But the feeling of anger came because I was thinking about all of the things that might happen for that package. It could go a different way. I open up the mailbox, package is not in there. I could feel calm. It's going to get here when it gets here. Nothing crazy is going to happen. Everyone is safe and healthy. I'm sure I can call and find out. So the thoughts of everything's going wrong could lead to anger, but the thoughts of it's all going to work out, it's okay, could lead to feeling calm. So, but same experience, package is not in the mailbox, right? So thinking about if this is kind of a practice for us, like notice how you feel and try to figure out or pinpoint what was I thinking right before that feeling or what led up to this feeling. Sometimes it's not right before, sometimes it builds for a while. And if you can, write it down. Like getting it out and on paper is really, really helpful because you can look at it. Otherwise, it might feel kind of overwhelming because you're feeling and thinking and trying to do all this work, or talk through it with someone, either me or the group chat or a partner, and just be like, I'm feeling this way and what thoughts came before this. Because if you can change your thoughts, you can change how you feel. How cool is that? If you can change your thoughts, you can change how you feel. The situation didn't change, the experience doesn't get rewritten, but you can change how you feel. And so even though this chapter is super short, it's very, very powerful, because this is how we hack into the system, is the awareness of our conscious mind, the awareness of our unconscious mind, the awareness of that filter, the reticular activating system, and the awareness like where our emotions come from, and they come from our thoughts before that. So, any questions about thoughts preceding emotion? Okay.
I don't know if I have a question,
Yeah.
but because I haven't read everything yet, because I didn't get through it the first round, are we going to go through something that is going to help with the pause? I think I find the pause before the emotions. My emotion comes out first,
Mm.
and then maybe it's just going to be practice, obviously, but my goal is after I react, after the emotion part happens, in whatever situation it is, I need to go back to figure out why that emotion was there. So I don't know
Yeah.
if there's anything in here that helps explain that. And you don't have to go into it because I know we're not there yet, but I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, like simple yes or no, yes.
Okay, then that's then
Definitely.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Long answer, it really is like we can't, because I think if I'm assuming right, we can't stop the emotion from coming up. Like when it comes up, that's when we get to pause. So it almost has to like, oh, I'm feeling a certain way. And then you kind of have to backtrack. What was I thinking before that? And we're actually going to practice that in the next couple of chapters, is like being aware of it, being aware of the thoughts. So this is actually a really good point to tell you guys that our next week, we are going to read chapters 13 through 18. And on the call, we're going to do the mindware experiments. Now, if you want to try them out on your own, it just feels good to do them. You'll get extra practice on the call. So if you want to do them on your own and together as a group, that's fine. But it's mindware experiments 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So chapters 13 through 18 and experiments 1 through 5. And we'll do the experiments together next time. And I will put this in the group chat too. So if you're like, I don't have anything to write this down, don't worry, I'll put it in the group chat. The recording will go in the group chat. And I do want to honor our time. We're 2 minutes over. Thank you for staying just a few minutes later. And if you guys have any questions or anything coming up for you, the group chat's going to be a great place to be. And I'll see you on here next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Everybody have a good night.
Good night. Thank
Bye.
Thanks so
you.
much.
Bye.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Thank you.